Hey guys, I'm Wanda, and today we're going to be talking about cucumbers and pickling and how to. There's many ways to pickle cucumbers, but the most asked question is how to keep them crisp. There's several ways to keep them crisp. I've looked into all of them. We're going to talk about each one, but we're going to talk about cucumbers in general first. Now there's two types of cucumbers here that I have. This one is a national pickling cucumber. You can look at the color, the texture, and the way it's made. This one is a Stonewall. It's darker. They get longer. It's just a different texture to it, both of them. But they're both crisp. I've eaten both of them fresh. They're extremely crisp. These seeds come from Hoss Tools. Check out the link below. So Stonewall National Pickling. This is a pickling cucumber. Look at it. This one almost went too far. It was hid, and I found it in my stash there. So I have about 5 pounds of cucumbers here. The first thing we're going to do when you get them is you wash them, clean them. Then you want to cut off the bloom end, and you want to cut off the stem end so that you have cucumbers like this. And then the deal is I'm going to cut mine in slices, round slices about this thick. That's about half an inch thick, maybe. So I'm going to cut all of my cucumbers this way. That's what we're going to be doing. Now, if you were making dill, you might want to cut them in spears. You would cut them long ways this way and make spears. But we are making sweet pickles, or either I'm going to make relish. If I was making relish, I would just cut it, the circle into cubes like this. So that's how I would make my relish. I like my relish with chunks. The cucumbers can be any type of cucumbers. You can also pickle a lot of other things like asparagus and green beans and peppers, and it's endless. Squash, anything. You can pickle whatever you want to do. But we're talking cucumbers right now, and this is what we're going to do with them. Now, in order to keep them crisp, I've always done this. I've made pickles since my kids were small. My mom made pickles, and this is the way she did. We call them sweet pickles. We use the pickling line, and we follow the directions on the back. I always have. This just makes the pickle that I grew up with, my kids grew up with. It's the pickle I like. Now, if you are used to bread and butter or some other type of pickle, a Cajun type pickle or whatever spices you're used to, then you add it to it. That's all, and follow that recipe. But on the back of this, it says for 7 pounds of cucumbers. I only have 5 pounds. So I'm going to have to cut back a little bit on it, the recipe, but I'm going to give you the recipe for 7 pounds. It takes 1 cup of lime, and this is pickling lime. Do not go get regular lime from somewhere else. Make sure it is pickling lime. They also have it, this is Mrs. Wage's. They have it in a bag. It's called pickling lime for extra crispness and flavor. You want it crisp? This is the way we do it. I'm going to use 1 cup of the pickling lime, 2 gallons of water, 8 cups of distilled white vinegar, 8 cups of sugar, 1 tablespoon of Mrs. Wage's salt. Now this is Ball. It is called salt for pickling and preserving. I have this. It'll work. It doesn't have to be Mrs. Wage's. It can be Ball. But you can also use your sea salt or any other salt. The thing is that they say here on the Ball, it is iodine free to prevent food discoloration, no additives, for clear pickling liquid. So your additives is what makes your food turn weird. So salt can be used, any type of salt, but if you want it pure, clean liquid, try Ball or Mrs. Wage's. Brand doesn't matter exactly unless you've noticed a difference. And you're going to need 2 teaspoons of pickling spices. Okay, so that again is your preference, whatever type spices you want. That is to make the whole thing. This takes approximately 2 days for me to make these pickles. Okay? It's a process. First you gotta wash them, clean them, cut them up. Then you soak your cucumbers in water and lime in a crock or an enamelware, and that's why I have this here. Do not use aluminum. It's not kosher. You want to use it in this or something similar. It's got any type of crock or glass or something like that, because you don't want this lime absorbing into it. So your water and lime overnight. It says you can do it 2 hours or overnight. I do mine overnight. So we're going to get these ready, leave them tonight, and we'll work with them tomorrow. Tomorrow you will wash them 3 times. At least get all the lime off. You want to keep washing, wash the lime off. Be very careful because your cucumbers are going to be crisp. They'll break real easily if you have them very thin. Then after you get through rinsing them in cold water 3 times, you're going to soak them in fresh ice water. So I cover the cucumbers and pour ice in. I'll put some cucumbers ice, and then fill it with water. And then I put something over the top to keep them submerged. And that way you have your crispness of your cucumbers. Okay, so lime. Another way that the old timers did it, they picked their cucumbers first thing in the morning and they started processing. They put them in cold water for a couple of 3 hours, and then they started their process, whatever they were going to do. The cold water, the ice water is what helps do that. Another way is pickle crisp. I don't know if Miss Wages or Ball, somebody makes it, and you can work with that. But I don't have pickle crisp, so I'm not using it. Another way to do it, grape leaves. I have some muscadines, scuppernons, and wild grapes, because it says to put 2 leaves in each jar, one on the bottom, one in the top, because the grape leaves have tannins in them. And that's what you want in your jar to help keep your pickles crisp. I'm doing the lime thing, which should keep them crisp, but it doesn't always work that way. I have some pickles that have went soggy, even though I did the lime and the ice water. So I don't know what the tried true every time version is going to be, unless it is pickle crisp or something you can buy now that would do that. Now I'm going to be making, like I said, sweet pickles, but there are many kinds, and you can get all kinds. Mrs. Wages does what they call a quick pickle. This is the kosher deal and the bread and butter, and they have other type of deal, other type of pickles. You can buy them. These only call for putting your fresh cucumbers in a jar, heating this in your vinegar and salt up, and pouring it over it, and then processing it 10 minutes. They may or may not be good and crisp. These do not even say anything about putting them in ice water or anything. It's simply fresh cucumbers, boiling liquid, and process. When I use these, I do the lime first, and then I do this process. So that's just my way of doing it. There are many kinds of pickles. Now, I do what is called a refrigerator pickle. On crazy days, there is a video called Refrigerator Pickles. Those are quick, easy. It's kind of like doing one of these. You do the boiling liquid, you put your cucumbers and onions and stuff over in a jar and pour the boiling liquid over it. Let them sit for a few hours, then refrigerate them. They're good for about 6 months. Then there's the kind like I do here, the lime pickles. These, when we get through with this, we're going to process them 10 minutes in a water bath canner, and they're good for about 5 years. I have opened some that were 8 years old, and let me tell you something, the vinegar was so stout. We managed to eat one, but it was stout. I have a video on Crazy Days, I believe, about a 8-year-old pickle. What does it taste like? Then you have what is called fermented pickles. Now, fermented is the way that they did the pickles many years ago, before they used lime and before they just did the quick pickles and stuff like that. The fermented pickles take 7 to 14 days. They are submerged in a brine, and left there. You have to stir them. I've done those pickles. It's a process for 7 to 14 days according to your recipe. You take and slosh it around, stir up the mixture, and what happens is these cucumbers are slowly breaking down somewhat. Now it does leave them kind of crisp, but some of them will mildew and some of them will sour, and they smell horrendous. I don't even like fermented anything hardly. I did them one time and decided it wasn't for me. So lime pickles it is. We're going to do the sweet pickles. I also have a red hot pickle recipe over on Crazy Days. The red hot pickles is made with cinnamon, little hot cinnamon, red hot cinnamons, the candies. That is the most awesome pickle you will ever eat. I love them as a side. I did not make but one batch of them last year, and they're almost all gone because I save them for special occasions. And guys, I would like to make some more this year. With the cucumbers we've already gotten, it's only been a week into the season. This is April the 19th, I believe. Guess what? I'm going to have some pickles. If nothing happens, I'm going to make some more red hot pickles. So there's all kinds of recipes, all kinds of things that you can do with pickles. And if you want them crisp, these are some of the ways you can do it. I'm going to get busy. I'm going to be processing these, and in a few days we'll show you what my pickles look like finished. But this is a quick tutorial on how we're getting ready to make pickles and how to keep them crisp, different varieties of pickles. Pickles 101. Thank you guys.